Let's take a look at this door in its current condition. As you can see right there in the bottom right, there is a gouge there that we're going to have to fix. We're going to have to fill it, sand it, and square it off. And the inside, which is actually in worse condition than the outside, surprisingly, is going to need a lot more attention. So we have a lot of gaps, cracks, and if you look at this glazing here, it looks like it's getting old. It's starting to fall off. So I'm going to go ahead and reglaze all these little stained glass windows, as well as the big one in the middle. Let's get going. Let's go ahead and remove these hinges that look like they got painted over 4 times. So I removed the door and laid it on the sawhorses that I bought that actually go taller than the other sawhorses because I am tall and I don't want to hurt my back on this project. I'll start by removing the hardware. Now I'm going to focus on getting this old paint off. I am using this chip brush with a paint stripper. I'm going to spread it on. I want to put it on real thick so it's easy to scrape off. And believe me when I say this looks a lot more fun on camera than doing it in person. All right, it's time for an update on this job. So I do feel like I underbid myself. I mean, this job is taking a lot more time and it's a lot more labor intensive than I, accounted for. Pretty smelly. The paint thinner is kind of all stuck in my nose and stuff like that. Just the dust, a little bit uncomfortable, but it's okay. Put some smooth tunes on and you're good. Also, I didn't have this in the video, but if you use steel wool, it helps you get around the contours a little bit better. So that'll help improve your paint removing ability. So I wanted to make a note of that because that was really important. And what happens is the old paint and like that gel stripper, it builds up on the steel wool. So make sure you buy plenty and then you'll be able to strip the door. But it was a lot of work to do that. So stay tuned. And listen, I'm going to be honest here. When it came to reglazing these windows, it was the most challenging part of the door for me. This is something I've never done, but after, some practice, I ended up getting the hang of it and doing a good job. Now, the bottom of the door and the corners had some water damage, so I did have to put a lot of wood filler on it just to build it up a bit, and then I can sand it down to where I want it to go. I can sharpen up the corners and make it look like a new door. Now when this wood filler dries, I'm going to sand it with the orbital sander, just in the big spaces, and then I'm going to use smaller tools, maybe little picks and sanding sponges and small little sandpaper, get in between these creases. As you see here, I'm going to use this block, put it in the corner, and then just try and smoothen out these edges so that when I caulk it, it looks like it's brand new. And this is the corner that I was telling you about that had the most damage. Now when you look at it from this view, look it, nice and square, nice and sharp. After it's primed and painted, you're not even going to notice. And the tip that I used is I got sheets of sandpaper and rolled it up, and it fit perfectly in these grooves here so I can get a nice even sand. And this is that corner that I filled with wood filler, but there's a groove in this door for part of the weather stripping. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Dremel and then just clean that line up so it looks like nothing ever happened. And now that the tedious prep is done, I can start preparing the spray booth. The way that I'm going to hang this door from the ceiling is using these toggle bolts. So I pre-drilled it, set the toggle bolts, and I'm going to use a strap to hang it from a ceiling joist. And this product here is a game changer and a time saver. It's masking liquid. You put it in your spray gun and you spray it right over the windows, and then you could peel it off later on. Moving on to the more fun part of the project is spraying the primer. I am using a cover stain made by the company Zinsser. I asked my local Benjamin Moore retailer what I should use, and that's the product they recommended. This is the result of the first coat of primer. As you can see, it is pretty light in some areas, so I am going to sand it down and hit it again because as you can see here, you have some like raised hairs, and that's going to make your paint look rough. So you got to make sure you sand it down, prime it again to give it that enamel, and then the paint job will come out very nice. And of course, we're going to sand that down again and get it ready for the paint. And while you're doing the sanding, you want to go ahead and check for any other imperfections that you missed, because once you paint it, it's harder to go back. So as you can see on the bottom, those are areas that need to be caulked, and you need to prime before you do your caulking, and then this will be your result. Notice how a good caulking job really makes a big difference. This color is called Citadel, and that's by Benjamin Moore, and we got it in a soft gloss finish. Now, when choosing exterior paint, it's important to note that if you're going to use a urethane-based paint, that can yellow over time, especially if it's in the sun. But the latex they make today is a lot more strong and durable than they used to have back in the day. I'm going to follow this up with a light sand with the fine grit sandpaper, and then put another second coat on and start working on the hardware. So this hardware can be restored, but the only one that I bought new were the hinges. But I want to restore this old mailbox slot and make it look like it's brass to match the rest of the door. So I primed it, I painted it, and look how nice that looks against the color. So let's install it now. I was having trouble taking this part of the doorknob off, and I didn't want to play games. I just taped it up and called it a day. And this part was tedious, but it was satisfying at the same time. So you can go ahead and enjoy these clips of the satisfying peeling process of the masking liquid. I used a Brillo pad to polish up this brass, and then I followed it with a brass polisher. While I was doing this, I had to use plywood to close the front opening. And it's time to be honest with you guys of what I think of this door. I think it is beautiful. I love the color. I love the stained glass. I think it's really unique with the old brass. You know, it's nice and polished, so it has a nice shine to it. Look at the mailbox slot. We got to save that. It just really feels like a unique type of door, and I've never seen one like it. To me, this is probably the coolest door in the neighborhood. So this is when I came back to take pictures and videos of the door, and I'm just still so satisfied with how this came out. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I hope the family is happy with the final outcome. Good luck to them in their new home.